Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man JRich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. GMGP. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G. And I appreciate each and every person in the building. What's happening with you, Alex? I see Adam in the building. TJ, Gretchen, good morning to you. My girl, oh, we gotta make it bigger. This is too small. I don't know why it always does this. Good morning, Gretchen, how are you? Adam, Jimbo, what's happening with you, baby? Cold World TDE in the building. Leo, what's happening with you? Still got love for JRich. Yes, he's enjoying a vacation. Sent beautiful pictures, man. We'll be glad to have him back. But I got y'all with a banger today. Appreciate y'all being in the damn building. Got a lot to talk about, folks. We got a lot to talk about. Contract news. I want to talk second and third year wide receivers. I want to take a look at some things. We're going to play some games. We're going to have some real conversations today. But I just want to start this thing off by talking about CJ Stroud and something that he brought up earlier this week. So we'll get into CJ Stroud. But real quick, I said I want to start with that. Mavs, Celtics, NBA Finals this week. I told y'all the Mavs were going to get that shit done in 6. They got it done in 4. They got it done in 5. They're gonna take care of Boston. I think Dallas is going to bring home the NBA championship. I'm going to show y'all some pictures today, and hopefully they elicit some emotional responses and we can have some conversations because there's a lot of stuff in sports right now, y'all. There's, football season is right around the corner. College football, NCAA 25 coming out. People excited about that. WNBA, we ain't going to do it today. We ain't going to do it. We ain't going to talk about her, but it's all over the news. It's all over the airways. It's all over the space. It's a good time to be alive this summer. Underdog Fantasy doing their thing, and y'all know what it is. They pay the bills. So if you are new to Underdog, make sure you use the promo code ALLGAS, up to $250 in bonus cash. We're putting out prop plays, best ball mania drafts, any kind of underdog drafts. Me, Scott Connor, the whole squad. We doing it all. So appreciate everybody being in the building. But yeah, CJ Stroud was on a show. I don't know if many of y'all listen to Wallow and Gilly, but he was on their show with Tank Dell, and they were talking about the top quarterbacks in the NFL. And let's hear what old CJ Stroud had to say, and then let's talk about it. Let's pull it up, see what Stroud had to say.
Oh, no, I'm tripping. Let me go. I'm going.
Tripping?
So, look, final 5. I know what I'm doing, dog. Mahomes, Lamar, myself, Dak.
Joey B.
No, he didn't really play last year. And then Hurts.
Dak?
Yeah, bro.
Dak?
Dak, that boy. Y'all not gonna say that because he ain't won the big one.
You said Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, Matthew, but he was
thing.
top 5.
It's Cowboys thing.
Bro, you gonna put Dak Prescott in there over Joe Burrow?
Yeah, I got.
I'm saying off of last year, dog. He ain't play all year. He got hurt.
Well, we can
Burrow,
find somebody.
Burrow, one of my favorite players. I'm out of my game after Burrow a little bit. Like,
why you don't fuck with that?
Cowboys.
Oh, Eagles and Cowboys, they don't like each other like that? I ain't know all that.
What?
I ain't see. I don't be knowing all that.
Dak tough, bro. Dak is one of the most accurate quarterbacks
Y'all gotta see them this year, don't y'all?
Yeah, we playing.
Oh my God.
Let me go.
I'm going. Tripping?
So look, final 5.
Take it back one time.
I know
Here's
what
the
I'm
list.
doing. Mahomes, Lamar, myself, Dak.
Joey B.
No, he didn't really play last year. And then Hurts.
There it is. That's
bro.
CJ Stroud. Stroud said his top 5 quarterbacks: Mahomes, Lamar, CJ Stroud, Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts. Let's talk about it real quick. Give me your top 5. Top 5 QBs in the league. And those of y'all that aren't watching, the responses were, man, Dak, how do you have Dak inside the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL? A lot of people asking for Joe Burrow. No Josh Allen. No Justin Herbert. CJ Stroud went out there and said, I am him. He said, I am him. I am the 3rd best quarterback, only behind the last couple of MVPs in Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. How y'all feel about that? Patrick says Dak was top 3 last year as a passer. And again, what Stroud was talking about in that interview wasn't the fact that he's the most winningest quarterback, that he's led his team to multiple Super Bowl runs. He said he's a top five passer in the league. He said after last year, those are his top 5 quarterbacks. What do y'all feel? If you don't consider yourself good, are you actually a good QB? Yeah, I don't got no problem with CJ Stroud saying that he's the 3rd best quarterback in the league or putting himself in the top 5 conversation. I've got no issue with that at all. Zero issue with that. Oh, he said I'm on mute? Oh, I'm on mute. My bad. Hold on. GQ's on mute. No, I'm not on mute. Y'all can't hear me? Ray, you're on mute. Never mind. I'm about to say, come on, Garrison. You can't be doing that shit, man. Garrison! Come on, dog. Come on, G. Garrison. And you listen every week. Yeah, Joe, I'm with you. He's confident, not arrogant. Sanders is arrogant. Joe, I didn't want to go here. I don't want to go here right now. Maybe we'll go there a little bit later with old Shador. But no, I don't consider what Stroud said arrogant, cocky. I like it. I think he's right. Mahomes, Lamar. It's interesting, right? We play this game, Dynasty, where we want to build this empire. And we want players that we feel that we're going to have on our Dynasty rosters for 5 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be. But I've been thinking about this whole Mahomes at the top of the QB ranks. And like we're playing a game in which we're looking for players to get us multiple ways to score touchdowns. I don't know. It's interesting. I wouldn't consider, I don't know if I would consider Herbert better than CJ Stroud. Definitely more proven, done more in the NFL just as far as being a 4,000-yard passer, showing his skill set week in and week out. Joe Burrow, the same way he led his team to a Super Bowl. But it's just interesting to hear some of the players that players give the credit and credence to. You hear this a lot with receivers showing love. Anytime you hear an NFL receiver talk about other NFL receivers, who's always in their top 5? Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, but these aren't necessarily the same type of guys that we are particularly interested in fantasy. So it's just a different game. It's just a different game. The NFL and what we do for fantasy football, or at least what we're chasing in fantasy football. I see Jimbo saying AR making that list this year. I'm Anthony Richardson, Truther 101. Been there, done that, gonna stay there. I don't know. I feel like his price and the hype and the enthusiasm has jumped the shark just a tad bit with Anthony Richardson. I was there 100% last year. Still my dog, but I see people saying he's top 5 already, top 3 already, and I can't quite go that far. We got Mahomes, Allen's hurt. Ty says NFL sees the game differently than fantasy heads, but the closer those lines can get, the better. Is it better? Me and Scott kind of talked about that last night. If it's better or worse? I don't really know. It is a different type of game. But a little cool piece. Mahomes, Allen, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts. Those are and Dak Prescott at number 4. Those are CJ Stroud's top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL based on last year. And now we will transition this to sort of a team exercise. I want to play a little keep trade cut. Let's get some keep trade cut type music on. I don't know what that would be, but I'm going to play songs that I like. We're going to get a little music on. We're going to play keep trade cut NFL offensive edition. So we're going to put up some of what I perceive to be the better offenses in the NFL. And then you guys are going to tell me which ones you guys would rather keep, cut, or trade away. So let's start out with the aforementioned Houston Texans led by one CJ Stroud. You've got this offense this year that should be absolutely loaded, right? Stroud. You've got Stephon Diggs who came into town. You also have Nico Collins who just got a bag. I don't even know if we've talked about Nico Collins, but we will. Nico Collins who just got a bag. I think he's getting like $24 million a season. You got Tank Dell, everything that he did. We'll talk about Tank Dell later. You bring in Joe Mixon. You've got competent tight end in Dalton Schultz. Offensively, the O-line is going to be better. This is a dope offense with the Houston Texans. So we got the Houston Texans up first. Then we have the Miami Dolphins. Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle just got paid massive money. Good job for Jalen Waddle. Good job for Waddle. But you got the Miami Dolphins offense. Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert. This offense is very good. Scores a lot of points and very fruitful for us in fantasy football. And finally, I want to take a look and make y'all pick between the Detroit Lions offense. Another player who got extended, 2 or 3, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, all got contract deals done over the summer for the Detroit Lions. So when you're talking fantasy, if you had to keep one of these offenses, trade one of these offenses, or cut one of these offenses, I think I've got a feeling of where you guys would land. What say you? The Texans offense, the Dolphins offense, or the Lions offense? Where y'all at? Which one you keeping? Which one you trading? Which one you cutting? I need to know where we at. All right, let's see. I've got some people in the chat. Rico says keep, sell, trade. Let's see. Keep Detroit, trade Miami, cut Houston. Emilio. You cutting Houston? You're keeping Detroit, so you want to keep Jared Goff, you want to keep Amon-Ra, you want to keep Gibbs and Laporta. That's you've got top 5 assets at all skill positions outside of quarterback, skill position. Tight end, running back, wide receiver. Trade Miami, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Achane, and cut Houston. Interesting, Emilio. I knew this would elicit some different type of responses. We got another one. We got Nate saying, keep Detroit, trade Houston, cut Miami. Okay, I think I like that one a little bit. We've got keep Houston. So now we got them all. Keep Houston, trade Detroit, cut Miami. All right, that's from Danny Riddle. And we'll go one more, and then we got another subset. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Leo, I knew it. Yeah, it's tough. Answer the question, Leo. I know it's tough. Think about it. Miami, you got Tua, Tyreek, and Waddle. You talk about upside, nuclear weeks, spike weeks. You getting that out of those 2 big play wide receivers who do nothing but run down the field and catch long passes, yak, score touchdowns. You've got the one hitter quitter in Devon Achane, that one touch, he can take it 90. Shane loves him, says he's a hammer. If you didn't check out Shane's video, make sure you check out that dropped last Friday. And then Houston's offense is dope. Houston's offense is a good one. Let's see. I don't even know what these offenses do differently. That's why I picked them, Joe. Now make a choice. That's why I wanted to put pressure on y'all asses this morning. Keep one, trade one, cut one. If it were me, I am probably going to keep Detroit, trade Houston, cut Miami, if I had to pick. If you're putting pressure on me like I'm putting pressure on you, that's probably where I would land on that side of this exercise. But we ain't done. I got some more that y'all got to think about. He said, this is great, KTC. Yeah, keep, trade, cut. One more. Chris says, keep Miami, trade Houston, cut Detroit. I trust McDaniels for fantasy more than the rest. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. I want to hear these differing opinions. Let's go. I got another one for y'all jokers this morning. Let's get into it. We've got Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens with Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry. That rushing attack. Y'all know what it is. That rushing attack, the ability that Lamar Jackson brings to the table. You've got the Baltimore Ravens. You also have Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith. Don't forget about the offensive line with Landon Dickerson. You know, they've got what's the center from who's going to replace Kelsey? He's a good player. I can't think of the name. You got Landon Dickerson there. You've got Lane Johnson there. You got all the offensive weapons of the Philadelphia Eagles. And then we're going to round this thing out with the big dog, the top dog, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and whenever Kelsey's gone, whoever comes into play with Patrick Mahomes, you got to keep one of these offenses. You got to trade one of these offenses, and you got to cut one of these offenses. Where y'all at with it? Kansas City, Baltimore, Philadelphia. Where we at? Fantasy. I want somebody to say cut KC. Let's see what y'all say. Cam Jurgens. That's what I was thinking about. Thank you, Terrell. Cam Jurgens. Yeah, Rico. Rico said, wow. Terrell says, keep Philly, trade Kansas City, cut Baltimore. We got another one for we're talking for fantasy. We got another one. We got another one for fantasy. Keep the Eagles, trade the Chiefs, cut the Ravens. That's man, I didn't think y'all were gonna say cut Lamar Jackson, keep KC. Let me ask y'all what let's talk about it. Everyone's saying keep Kansas City, but y'all don't like Rashee Rice. You think his career is over, right? He's done in the NFL. You don't like Hollywood Brown because of the foot injuries and X, Y, and Z. No one likes Xavier Worthy because he's injured and his hamstrings are already messing up and he drops a lot of passes. You think Travis Kelce is going to be old, retire after this season, and Patrick Mahomes never has any help. I'm just, what is it? Is it truly Mahomes? What is it about the KC offense? I'm just asking the question. I love it too, but I want to hear from y'all. What is it about the KC offense that makes you feel that would be the team that you want to keep? And on that note, I didn't bring up the Buffalo Bills. They weren't included. Thought about putting one in with Jordan Love and the Packers, but they're still kind of young. The Rams, good offense last year, but we gotta see what Stafford does. It's Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen right now in Underdog is QB1 coming off the board. People are taking him in the third round. He's coming off the board, hot, heavy, early, ready to go. But you look around at that offense, and there's no Diggs, there's no Gabe Davis. You got James Cook, and you got a bunch of you've got some journeyman Curtis Samuel type receivers. I believe this is his third team. You've got a third-year player in Khalil Shakir. You have a rookie in Keon Coleman, who a lot of people thought was a raw developmental prospect coming out in the first place. So when you've got these hammer-proven quarterbacks, but the offense or the situation looks a little shaky, how are you feeling about Allen as that QB1? I want to go through a couple of more of these and see what y'all are saying. Mahomes and Kelce over Lamar and Andrews. Rice, Hollywood, and Worthy over Zay, Bateman, and Devontae Walker. So that's Patrick's assessment of that situation. Yeah, it's interesting. Whoa, we got some news. Whoa. Let me get the bomb drop. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. We don't need the oh my God. What did we just have happen? Hold on, baby. Hold on. Let me check the old timeline. Do we have some breaking news, or are y'all lying to me? No, it is. I see. Okay. Woo-wee! Damn. Yo. What? Hold on. Hold the damn phone. Let me get this on the screen, folks. Hold on. Let me get this on the screen. I love when shit breaks in the morning. Don't you love this? Here it is. For those of y'all who might be watching late or you're in the car, I'm putting it on the screen. Justin Jefferson. Make it big so y'all can see. Justin Jefferson. God damn it, Ray. 4-year, $140 million deal. 35 a year guaranteed. 110 mil for Justin Jefferson. 140, 35 a year, 110 million fully guaranteed. Wow. 35, 110. The highest paid non-QB in the NFL. Justin Jefferson just reset the wide receiver market, and that is good. Glad he got paid, and I'm so glad it's only like a 4-year deal. I wonder if it's like an option for him to get out after the 3, but there you go. The top receiver that's been in the league, and this is actually going to be a really good segue into some information that we're going to dive into about wide receivers on this show. But how we feeling, man? How we feeling? Jets. Good for McCarthy. Good for Sam Darnold. Good. Justin Benjamins. They tried to trade the man for Neighbors. What y'all think about that, man? They said they want to trade him for they're trying to trade for Neighbors. You see, I didn't bring that up. I just kind of left that one alone. I wasn't all the way. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. But Justin Jefferson, now the highest paid damn player in the NFL. and he deserves it. He has been nothing short of, he's been incredible. He's been the best wide receiver that we've seen come through the NFL first 4 years of his career. He's an awesome player. This is good for Justin Jefferson. It's good to see him get his bag. And I'm glad we were talking about this privately in our Discord, patreon.com/ALLGAS, that what the holdup was. And they were like, he just wants to one up a little bit more. I'm like, he probably wants a lot more money. And this is significant. What's this do for CeeDee Lamb? I don't know, y'all. Is Dallas going to pay him $36 a year, $37.5 a year? Does CeeDee Lamb usurp Justin Jefferson as the highest paid receiver in the league? Then it's Jamar Chase. I think Jefferson is the best, no doubt. I think he's better than CeeDee Lamb. I think he's better than Jamar Chase. I think he's the best receiver in football. Now, if you're talking dynasty and fantasy football, it's a whole different conversation because we know how much offensive coordinators and quarterbacks impact and affect the wide receiver position. But you're talking about why he got paid. He got paid not because he's a good fantasy player. It's because he's the best damn receiver in the league. So good for freaking Justin Jefferson. Joe says, now comes CD, then Ayuk, then Higgins payday. I don't even want to see what Dallas is going to have to pay to keep CD. Or what it's not if they're going to pay, they're going to pay it, but the price of the brick just continues to rise up with each and every contract. So Justin Jefferson locked up, pretty cool. Thank y'all for notifying me of that in the chat. So I think we will move on and talk through some wide receivers. I was doing some stuff last night in preparation for the show because at first I was just gonna make the whole thing like just would you rather. Let's guess. Let's talk about this. Let's have some fun. And then I started looking at some data and diving into some stuff. And then next thing you know, I'm down a rabbit hole. So I'm going to set the scene for how we're going to do this. And I'm not going to reveal the answer until everybody sort of submits their responses. And I'm hoping this will be a good exercise. So I segmented this cohort to really look at the foundational assets, the players that we're after in fantasy football, the young guys, the receivers. So it's from between 2020, 2023. That's the group that we're working with between 2020, 2023. Wide receivers. I kind of qualified this 250 routes run. They had to run 250 routes. Their yards per route run over 1.5, which is sort of like bare minimum threshold. And their targets, right? Their targets per route run at least one. So I had to like filter this thing down a little bit to get all the crappy wide receivers out of the group. And I have created a tool, and I'm just going to say it like this. I think I'm telling you, and I'm putting together an article right now explaining what Trinity Score is before we incorporate the tight ends over the summer. And we've already run the data. It is even more predictive than it was last year. I think it is running at a 0.8 something R squared number, whatever that shit means for the analytical people. But I think it's the best tool out there to predict and to analyze wide receiver success. It's on the website. A lot of good things coming with the Trinity tool. But I was looking at that and then looking at some of the things that make these players successful. So this is on a per game basis for the groups between wide receivers from 2020 to 2023. And I just want to ask y'all, and we'll start off very easy, just filtering by routes run per game. Not the yards, not the distance, just how many routes are these receivers running per game. And your top 5 wide receivers over the past 3 years from that group with those qualifiers, you've got Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, the aforementioned Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Michael Pittman. Devonta Smith, CeeDee Lamb are also there as the only wide receivers over that time frame to average about 34 routes run per game. 34, they're out there, they're lined up in the slot, the X and Z, and they're running about 34 routes a game. Nobody else has hit that. Some very close, but nobody else is in that category, right? But let me ask you, I'm going to play a little game of would you rather this receiver or that receiver? So knowing that, of this subset, there are 28 wide receivers who fit this group, all right? This wide receiver right now, currently on Keep Trade Cut, is valued quite. He's priced because people want him. But of this group, this wide receiver only And one of the things that I've started to look at is target conversion percentage. So I've got access to a very sophisticated tool through TrueMedia, and target conversion percentage is percent of targets that result in a first down or a touchdown. So you're either getting targeted, and those targets are either converting for a first down or a touchdown. This wide receiver is second to the last spot, 34.1%. He's second to the bottom of this cohort in that percentage, 34%. The leader, Brandon Ayuk, at 48.6% of his targets are resulting in a first down or a touchdown. This player is only ahead of Josh Downs at 31.9%, yet he is valued very, very highly in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He is also in the bottom quadrant. I think he is bottom quadrant, bottom half of the league in that group in yards per route run over a per game basis over the course of his career. Who am I? Plays in the AFC. He is only averaged so far throughout his career, and there is reason to explain this, right? Would you rather this receiver who is top 5 in routes run, but bottom quadrant in yards per route run? He has not scored us a lot of fantasy points per game, but the volume is huge. Who am I? Who am I talking about right now? We got Jalen Waddle up. That's a good guess since he just got paid. That's a good guess. We've got Michael Pittman on the board. Another good guess. And Joe says Nico Collins. So the answer to this question, this player runs a lot of routes, yards per route run, not very high, and target conversion percentage is second to the last in this group. And I am talking about Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson. When you look at this group of 28 wide receivers from 2020 to 2023, he is, as I said, he is one of the top guys in routes run. I mean, he is running a shit ton of routes every single week. Number 2, only behind Jamar Chase, the only 2 wide receivers from this group to average 37 routes run per game. But where Jamar Chase is getting you 2.19 yards per route run, he's got a 46.2% target conversion percentage. Garrett Wilson quite low. Now, his targets per route run extremely high, which is important. Extremely high for his target per route run. He's top 10, but a lot of this can be explained through the quarterback position. So Joe said, is he a buy? I'm going to kick it back to you. If you believe that the addition of Aaron Rodgers to this offense, which we all should believe, is better and is a significant upgrade over Trevor Siemian, over Zach Wilson, over Mike White, sure. I think so. I'm not going to say a buy to go spend all this money for him, but it's a good bet to make. There's always context to numbers. I can twist the numbers and manipulate it to do whatever I want, but you've got to put the context there. But the reality is the only player who has been sort of, I don't want to say worse, right? But in this group that we're talking about, that was lower for his targets equating to first downs or touchdowns was Joshua Downs. Garrett Wilson sits in a cluster. The 4 that are around him are Chase Claypool, Pop Douglas, and Josh Downs. Jaden Reed and Laviska Shenault up next after that category. So is he a buy? I don't know. But would you prefer Garrett Wilson or would you prefer the wide receiver that I'm going to mention to you right now? So let's talk through this one. This wide receiver is bottom 3 in the NFL, and it's only 1 year. But bottom 3 in the NFL with targets per route run. Bottom 3 in the NFL, targets per route run. Yet, he is number 4 in the NFL in that group in routes run per game. He is running a shit ton of routes. He's running more routes than CeeDee Lamb per game, Puka Nacua, T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Pittman Jr., running more routes than all of those guys. Yet, he is the last one, dead last in this group in yards per route run. And his target conversion percentage, all right? I remember Brandon Ayuk is the gold standard. 48% of his targets are resulting in first downs or touchdowns. Would you rather have Garrett Wilson or this player that I'm talking about right now, whose target conversion percentage for first downs or touchdowns is in the bottom quadrant? It is bottom 4th of the league, 36.5%. Who am I? And would you rather have this player who's running more routes? His targets per route run ain't high. The yards per route run ain't very high either. Who would you rather have, Garrett Wilson or the receiver right here? This is a first-year player going in the second year. No. JSN. Good guess, Matt, but it's not JSN. Dan, NFC. NFC. Joe is thinking. Josh has made a guess. Goat Ring says QJ. Well, the answer has already been mentioned, and it is one Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings. Jordan Addison last year did a lot of great things, scored a lot of touchdowns. 1.5 yards per route run of wide receivers from 2020 to 2023 with a minimum of 250 routes and 1 target per route run. He is the only players who are lower than him in targets per route run percentage. Get this, y'all. George Pickens and Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs and George Pickens, the only ones lower. And again, I get it, first-year player, but that's not everything, right? Justin Jefferson just got the bag. The Minnesota Vikings have a quarterback situation change. This is going to be a much different offense than we're used to seeing. Taylor Wolf says Addison is a full fade. Says Addison is a full fade. Old Ruggs makes it on the show. Jefferson got paid. I'm surprised he ran that many routes as a rookie. Dan said 2 for 2. Tater says Garrett Wilson over Jordan Addison by a ton. And I see Dontavian Wicks in the chat. Taylor, let me tell you, I filtered him out because he and Khalil Shakir kept popping up very, very high, but they only get like targeted 2 or 3 times. So if I were to put Wicks in here or keep the qualifier set to where Wicks pops up, he'd be way at the top of a lot of stuff. But the player I was talking about was Jordan Addison. Now, let's make this much harder. I just wanted to warm it up for y'all. Just prime y'all up. Now I want to see how good y'all are. I want to see how good you fantasy football folks are. So I'm going to make this a little more difficult in this subset here, but this player is top 5 in the NFL in targets per route run from this subset. 2020 to 2023, qualifiers on it. Just saying that for people who may be jumping in. He's top 5. All right. When you look at the routes run per game, just the routes run, not no yards, just the routes run, he's about middle of the road, 14th overall in this subset. Now, his yards per route run, that's a whole different story. The yards per route run, he's top 8. And then his target conversion percentage, and then I'm going to hit y'all with another stat real quick. His target conversion percentage, top 15 in the league. That's 14th. 42.1% of his targets are going for first downs or touchdowns. And then let's go with the reception conversion percentage. So when they actually catch the ball, what's happening? He is top 10 in the NFL. 66% of his actual receptions, like the hauling in the pass, have gone for a first down or a touchdown. So this is just a rock-solid receiver all the way around. The NFC, and let me see where Keep Trade Cut has him around. Let me see which players are rated ahead of him that I think is probably a little bit out over our skis here. He's an NFC player, young guy, and he is you've got some young guys rated over him, but I'm gonna see if anybody can guess this one. And I didn't give you a ton. Got Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I see the answer in here. Fantasy quiz show with your host, Ray GQ. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Smitty. The answer to this question, and I want to talk a little bit about this player. Are we underrating and undervaluing New Orleans Saints wide receiver Chris Olave? Are we underrating Chris Olave just a little bit? He's 10th at 23 years old. He'll be 24 right when the season starts. Got Malik Neighbors ahead of him, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson. So we talked how is Garrett Wilson? They're both the same age, 23.9. How is Garrett Wilson valued more highly than Chris Olave? Puka Nacua, Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave 10th on KTC. Derek Carr does stink. Nobody likes Derek Carr. Joe said it. Joe went ahead and said it. Olave over Garrett Wilson. Okay. Olave buy low candidate. I don't know what it. Sure, but I don't want to give you guys fake information. And I'm like, oh yeah, go buy low. And you're like, Ray, no one's selling Chris Olave for low. What the hell are you talking about, dude? I don't know. I'm not. I am not in acquisition player mode right now. But what is buy low? It's the QB. But when you just look at Chris Olave's consistency, where he places, 2.23 yards per route run, over 40% target conversion percentage for a first down or a touchdown. This is very, very good territory to be in. The only players who have a higher target conversion percentage than Chris Olave, they are the big dogs, right? It's Jefferson, you've got Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua in that frame as well. So let's have some more fun with this one because I think I've got one that might shock everybody. No one's going to get this one. This player that we're about to talk about right now, his target conversion percentage, higher than CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Drake London, Devonta Smith, and Chris Olave. I'll throw Michael Pittman and Zay Flowers in there as well. So when he is targeted, he's doing more with those targets from a touchdown or first down perspective than the aforementioned mainly CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice, Drake London, Devonta Smith. His yards per route run for this player is also top 8 in the NFL, higher than Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk, Drake London, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith. We're just talking high. Routes run. Let's look at those routes run. About middle of the pack, 29. So sub 30 routes run per game. His targets per route run, check this out for this player. Targets for per route run for him, 14th in the NFL. Higher than Christian Watson, higher than Brandon Ayuk, higher than T. Higgins. Who am I? Who am I? Young player, AFC. A lot of news about this team. We've talked about this team. I've seen this name in the chat of the team that this player is. Who am I? Leo says George Pickens. Ty DeClaire says Dontavian Wicks. Josh Harper says Jalen Waddle. The answer to the question, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know who it is, man. Let me get the screen. I want to do him justice. I want to make sure we do him some justice. It is one, Nathaniel Tank Dell. It is Nathaniel Tank Dell. Tank Dell, when I started to look at this, man, and I'm going to pull something up, and there's a bunch of names on the screen. I'll pull it up again. I don't want to show it right now. I don't want to spoil the rest of the fun that we got to have. But when I started to look at the fact that what he did in limited duty last year with C.J. Stroud, with Nico Collins, if I just filter this thing out with Houston Texans, right? Tank Dell, of the Houston Texans that fit this, it's only Tank Dell and Nico Collins anyway. Tank Dell 7th in a target conversion percentage with 45.9%. So 46% of his targets are for first downs or touchdowns. Nico Collins, 41.4. All right. Okay. Routes run on a per game basis. Tank Dell, 29. Nico Collins, 27.3. Targets per route run. Houston Texans, same subset. Tank Dell, 23.5. Nico Collins, 22.1. And then your targets per game, Nico probably out-targets him. Yeah, Nico's got more, right? Yeah, right. No, wrong. Tank Dell, targets per game, slightly higher than Nico Collins. It ain't much, but it's enough, right? 6.82 versus 6.03. So everything that I sort of look at is screaming Tank Dell. And I want to show y'all this. Again, I am definitely biased, but I'm biased for good reason. Because the tool is great. And when you look at, and let me zoom this out, this is the Trinity score for 2023 players. And I just want you to focus right here at the top. You got Puka Nacua, and then next up is Tank Dell. And this is on a per game basis. All the shit that we're talking about. Targets per route run, yards per route run, touchdown, this, percentage, that. We have created a thing that puts all of that together into one and shows you how a player is doing amongst their own team. And when I look at 2023 rookie data for the wide receivers, and this is a predictive tool to a degree, Puka Nacua and Tank Dell reign supreme at the top. So the conversation that a lot of people are having is who's the one? Nico got paid, but yet we're seeing the young version of go get lunch and breakfast together in the cafeteria, play out.
Oh, no, I'm tripping. Let me go. I'm
You
going.
tripping?
So, look, final five.
Right here,
I know what I'm
when
doing.
you've
dog.
got the quarterback of
Mahomes.
the Houston Texans always with his guy, Tank Dell. That's CJ Stroud right here. We showed this earlier. That's Tank Dell right there. So where are y'all at with the Tank Dell versus Nico Collins situation? Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. All I see is Big John Mingo isn't dead. Stop it, Joe. We ain't getting there. I love numbers in football, plus I've had my coffee. Does Stroud ever put him in his all-star team lineups? We think that changes with the addition of Diggs. Well, Adam, let's talk about that real quick. Diggs is there. Joe Mixon is also there too. And Joe Mixon has shown an ability to command targets out of the backfield. And I think as good as Devin Singletary was last year, it's not a stretch to say Joe Mixon is better than Devin Singletary. Like, it's not. He's a better player than Devin Singletary. It's just interesting. Garrison says, love Tank, but how many games did he leave early because he broke his leg versus the games he completed? Okay. That's a very fair sort of concern to have. Is he going to be available? Is his size going to hold up? If it does, when he's on the field on a per route, per target basis, he's the best receiver that they have. And I'm a big fan of Nico Collins. Nico Collins fits his role. He fits what they want to do. He is proficient in what he does. That's why he got paid $24 million a year to do what he does. But this is an interesting offense that I'm very curious to see. There are some people who seem to think that CJ Stroud could support 3 Pro Bowl receivers this year. I don't believe that's going to happen. That's asking him to not have any type of pullback on all the great success Stroud had last year. What do you have? 3 interceptions on the entire season, 5 total interceptions, something very low. Just so efficient. But I'm not banking on him supporting 3 wide receivers. Oh, here's a good question. We talked about Addison or Tank Dell. It's Tank Dell for me. It's Tank Dell for me. T or Tank? T Higgins or Tank Dell? Let's just talk about T really quickly since y'all pulled him up. Let's talk about T Higgins. Let's talk about T. So when you're looking at just his targets per route run, T Higgins is 22nd in that subset, 21.1%. The only players that have a lower target rate on the routes that they run, these are the only players lower than T Higgins. Zay Flowers, Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Jordan Addison, George Pickens, and Henry Ruggs. All right, so he's 22nd of 28 amongst this group that we kind of put together. Routes run for T Higgins over his career on a per-game basis, not bad. 9th in the NFL. 9th in the NFL at 32.93 routes run. Now, let me just go back to the targets per route run, because if T Higgins is so low, then Jamar Chase should be much higher, which he is. He's 24% targeted per route run amongst this group. T Higgins, what's interesting about T is despite the fact that he's not being targeted to that degree, and you T Higgins fans are going to love this. You T Higgins fans are going to love this. Although he is not targeted as frequently as Jamar Chase, which we know, he needs to be on the field, which we know. His target conversion percentage, percent of targets resulting in a first down or a touchdown for T Higgins, the only players in the NFL with a higher conversion percentage than T, Brandon Ayuk and Justin Jefferson. T Higgins, number 3. Higher than Amon-Ra, Waddle, Chase, Dell, Lamb, Puka, London, Smitty, Justin Jefferson, and Brandon Ayuk. So when he is targeted, he's picking up first downs or he's scoring touchdowns. And T Higgins, number 2 in the NFL, and the only player that's above him is the aforementioned Tank Dell in percent of receptions for first downs and touchdowns. Both of those guys, 70%. T Higgins is freaking good. He is very good. He needs to stay on the field. Does he need a change of scenery? I don't know. I kind of want to see him with Burrow. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, but this feels like a path destined for separation. And all I can ask for and all we can hope for is his transition to a new team, if that so is the case, is fruitful for us the same way that Stephon Diggs leaving Minnesota was good for us when he went to Buffalo. Tyreek Hill, people thought it was going to be a wrap when he left Kansas City to Miami. He only got better. So let's hope that with this change, DJ Moore as well, when he left out of Carolina, he was good in Carolina. but what he was able to do with Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent this year took his fantasy game to another level. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Cincinnati and T. Higgins, but the data shows that when he's on the field, he's a damn good wide receiver. All right, let's get negative Nancy here. Let's be a little negative. Let's get a little negative. Let's talk about the players who are valued very highly, yet when you start to look at some of the things that they've done, you start to dive in, you're like, really, everyone talks about the upside, where does that upside come from? Let's talk about Devonta Smith, the Slim Reaper. And y'all know I love me some Smitty. I love them coming out in 2021. But let's talk about Devonta Smith, who is top 6 in the NFL, folks. He is top 6 in the NFL in routes run. So he's out there. He's on the field. He's running the routes. He's a part of a good offense. We know Devonta Smith is a very, very good NFL wide receiver. He's top 6 in routes run. So that should be a good thing, right? But then when you filter all this data and you look at his targets per route run, it's bottom 5. The only players lower are Josh Downs, Addison, Pickens, and Henry Ruggs, 20.6%. And it's a 50-game sample size for Devonta Smith. So it's not like we're doing this off of 1 year with, Tank Dell or something like that. He's been in the league. This is who Devonta Smith is. He's going to run a lot of routes, but with A.J. Brown on the field, he's not going to be targeted like A.J. Brown. Let's just take a look at his target conversion percentage, which for me has been very, very big. I am honed in on this ISO metric right here. Very much honed in on it. Now, when he is targeted, he's very, very good. 42.6%, which is 12th in the NFL. London, Rashee Rice, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar, all the big dogs ahead of him. So this is good territory for Devonta Smith. And then you look at his yards per route run for Smitty, for the Slim Reaper, kind of in the middle of the road. Which to me, when it's kind of in the middle like this, his yards per route run, 1.86 amongst his sample size. The average is 2.01, so he's below average. Above average in the routes. He's below average in being targeted. Is above average in being targeted, 7 targets per game. That's right around the average. And then his target conversion percentage is a little bit above the average of this subset, which is 42.5. Talk about Smitty, because he is ranked right now wide receiver 16. Ahead of Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, Tank Dell, Jordan Addison, George Pickens. All I know is there's some players down there that if I could tear off of Smitty, get some extra capital, I wouldn't mind moving off of him. Now, if something were to happen to A.J. Brown, this probably changes the math, and he's one of the few receivers that's proficient enough that if something were to happen to the big dog, A.J. Brown, Smitty might be able to take his game to another level. But absent that, he's probably just a good wide receiver too, right? A good wide receiver. Somebody said, damn, you had to use that picture. What picture did I use? I don't know what picture I used. Smitty minus Goddard equals a stud. Yep, and I love Smitty. Ruggs call out. The Slim take a hit this year with Barkley coming in the fold. Seems the TDs will be spread between him, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Smitty. I don't know, man. I don't want to, Mr. London, I don't want to get into the touchdown game because that is a very unsticky metric. But there's some good players in this offense, and they're probably not going to be throwing the ball a lot once they get inside the 5-yard line, once they get inside the money situations. See what else y'all are saying. Don't slander the Slim Reaper. I'm not slandering him. I am not slandering him at all. I feel like I don't know anything now. The more I learn about stuff, it feels like pure gambling now. It's, Joe, I think it's just understanding what you're buying, understanding what you're investing in, and having, what did I talk about all NFL draft process, y'all? Managing those expectations. Not drafting Ladd McConkey, and your first thought is he's going to be Keenan Allen off the rip. He's going to lead the team in receptions and yards and touchdowns and everything off the rip. If that happens, great. But I wouldn't be going into the 2024 season hoping that stuff happens. So now that we've kind of gone through a couple of things, I'm going to just share the chart and the data with y'all, and I want to see what y'all say. I'm going to just pull it up, and we can kind of look at it. So here it is. Here's everything kind of layered together. And let me take the Underdog thing off the screen so we can see that. Let me take that off the screen. Take that off the screen. So the x-axis is your routes run per game versus your first down, touchdown percentage rate per target. You see at the back of that thing, Kadarius Toney did pop up. Kadarius Toney is in there. You talk about a hidden stud. Kadarius Toney, you look at his targets per route run. I tried hard to filter his ass out of there, y'all. 26.7%. The only people getting targeted more per route run in the NFL is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nacua. But let me go ahead and look at how many routes he's running. He's running sub 15 routes. He's running 13 routes a game. So he doesn't matter. Laviska Shenault doesn't matter. But what sticks out to y'all? Just this screen picture alone, folks, you should have some very definite, concrete, oh shit takeaways right off the rip. And not all bad. Not all bad. Some should be very good. I think the Garrett Wilson, the fact that he's running so many routes and his conversion percentage is so low, that probably speaks to the quarterback. That probably just speaks to the quarterback situation. But what does that say about Addison? He's running a lot of routes, but the conversion percentage is low for first downs or touchdowns. He had a good quarterback. What's this say about Jordan Addison? Michael Pittman, you see him below the regression line. Zay Flowers. Look at the top of this list. Look at the top. You got Tank Dell up there. Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle. That's Amon-Ra. That's T. Higgins. That's Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith. There's George Pickens in the middle. Nico Collins, Drake London. Rashee Rice is up there. What does this say? What does this say? What are the takeaways when you see these things and you're making those dynasty bets, you're making those strategic gambles? And I'll do this too. Just to share this with you as well. If anybody wants to see everything and then you kind of do what you want with it. Let me put this on the screen. And it's going to be kind of small, but I mean, there's no other way to do it. So I'm going to share this. Here goes all the data from top to the bottom, right? I think I've got it filtered by targets per route run. I could have filtered it another way, but here goes all the players. And you can kind of look at that. And if there's a way for me to pin this in the YouTube comments afterwards, but you can just take a look at the subset of receivers that we have. I think everybody in here is outside of the guys that aren't, the Laviska Shenaults, we know who they are. The Claypools, we know that we don't want them. But these are all players that have ADV. These are all players that people want. But when you're deciding between a Jaden Reed or a Garrett Wilson, a Drake London and a Tank Dell, a Pop Douglas and a Christian Watson, you got to start to look at some different things in order to help formulate a plan and be able to make your own bets. We should do a deep dive into the best fantasy metrics ever created. What are they? Here's the thing. This is just my opinion. This is my opinion with this stuff. Yeah, Pop Douglas is all over the place, Joe. Pop is an interesting one. Let me look at Pop real quick and give y'all some stuff with Pop, because he's one I talked about with Peter Overzet that I want to continue to draft in Underdog. But Pop Douglas, and again, the context here, right? What is the context to this situation? Quarterback is freaking very, very important. We all know that, but it is significant. But when you look at the yards per route run, Pop Douglas, pretty low, 21st in the subset, 1.7. But let's look at the target conversion percentage. Let's just take a look at Pop. Where's he at? Where are you at, Pop? Low. It's low, 34.2%. Routes run per game, pretty low. He's in there. He's in the conversation. And last year he played with Mac Jones, who was not very good. So I do think there is something there with Pop. How high does he go? What particular format would I prefer him in? We'd probably have to dive a little deeper into that one. But he's in this cluster. He's in the cluster that I filtered out. Over a target per route run, 250 targets minimum, and 1.5 yards per route run. He fits the threshold. He is in the category. There are some names in here who aren't in this category. The Rashad Bateman isn't in here. Some other names that aren't in here. So it's interesting about Pop Douglas. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Polk and Baker will be eating in that offense. Let me see. Would you consider off-season values are more based on market values? In-season trades are points values. I would say yes if the market was actually reflective and indicative of what you can get done. I look at the market. I look at Keep Trade Cut. We talk about this. Scott talks about it. Find me a world in which somebody is trading, some of these players who are ranked ahead of them for the players that are below. I feel the market is just kind of screwed. And because I think that, I don't know if there is a market. You know what I mean? Like, how do I say this? How do I make this make sense? There is a market. There is a fictitious fantasy football market that exists that says this player is valued higher than that player. But every league, there's 800 people watching this. And that means 800 different leagues have 800 different market values. And the value in League 207 is much different than the viewer 402 in their league market. So what is market? I don't even, we're at a point in time in Dynasty, y'all, where I just think this cycle, it's just a cyclical game. It goes from, if you guys didn't listen to the show last night, Scott Connor and I on Destination Chill, we literally talked about this. Where Dynasty is today, where we think it's going to go versus where it's been. And where it started out was all player takes, player analysis, whether that be film, but it's I'm telling you who's good, draft that player. Then we entered into the analytic era. Player Profiler really started to really pick up steam and pop the hell off, right? Talking about, Dominator rating and early breakout age. That's all we focused on. And then it sort of shifted and molded into more of an NFL fantasy, what's actually happening, how do we commingle and exist together? And then it's transitioning again to where people are like, I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what metric is important. There's this new data point that's coming out every day. I don't know what to do. I mean, at the end of the day, don't overcomplicate it. It's football. Good players make good plays. Not everybody's a stud. And I think that's where some of the tools that come out just help you better prioritize and categorize the buckets in which you feel about these players. But the market, I don't know. I don't know what it is. The market is as impactful as the consumer who's listening to the person who's helping dictate the market. If you believe me and you rock what I'm saying, I'm telling you, go get Anthony Richardson, go draft him 101 over Bijan or whatever, then the people that listen to that market gets impacted. But if you're listening to another content creator or service provider that says fade him, he's a bad passer, he's not going to be able to throw, inefficiency, well, my market doesn't quite align with yours. So there's buyer, yeah, it's emotional. It changes like the wind. It's day to day, it's league by league. It's only June. The struggle is real. Pop had a couple of rookies added to this team, gained a second. Good morning to you. So I went from Nico and Addison to Pickens and Dell. Thoughts? They're all in there. I'm fine with it. Danny, I don't want to bullshit you without more information. I would need to know the league format, but off the rip, me personally, and I don't know if this was a deal that you made like this, but I don't. I'm just not doing like a trade 2 wide receivers for 2 wide receivers. I don't dynasty that way. I don't dynasty that way. Bro, Ray is bald. Where have y'all been? Y'all don't know I have hair? Yeah, man. Come on. Let's go. Black people, man. Smooth, man. Keep my shit shaved. The only market that matters is the one of the manager you're trying to trade with. That's really what it is. It's subjective. There's no market. And to beg the question, I know we've talked about it on the show, rankings. What's that mean about rankings, player rankings, how you feel about it? Market is a bad word for it. Well put. Perceived value is way better than putting it. Yeah, perceived value, whatever it is. Each league is different. Jalen Waddle got paid. Good for Jalen Waddle. Let's air horn him. Good for Jalen Waddle. We did not talk about Waddle at the beginning. Waddle got paid as well. I'd be remiss to say that. Waddle and Nico Collins were both paid. Both of those guys fit this subset. It was ironic that Jefferson deal got done today, and I was not anticipating or planning for that. And then we got to dive into some little wide receiver data today. Thank you, Joe. Bald is beautiful. Thank you, Joe. I love you, and I appreciate y'all as well. Gretchen says, league psychology. Every league is its own animal. 100%. 100%. What else do we have? Tomato. Moved A.D. Mitchell for Baker, Kenneth Walker. Ty DeClaire says, great show. And if you guys like this stuff, if you like just looking at data, and I try to make sure that it's very applicable to fantasy, but also very true to the NFL. Like, what the hell is the team's actually doing? We can do some of that. We can just kind of look at some numbers, receivers, running backs, quarterback. If we did the same exercise and I pulled up some of the quarterback stuff, y'all would have a heart attack, because there's some quarterbacks you don't like that just shred the league. They're just good. They're just good and efficient and monsters versus whatever you throw at them. yet they're not ranked high. They're not in the top 10. They're not top 5 dynasty assets. It's interesting when you look at what's happening and what's actually going on. One last thing before we get out of here. Let me just give you the top guys in target conversion percentage that I think we should be paying attention to a little bit more if we're not. I know a lot of people are down or a little, I don't even want to say down, but Jalen Waddle seems to be a name that people are kind of not as excited about. But y'all, I'm in top 4 in the NFL. 47.2% of his targets are first downs and touchdowns. Yards per route run, over 30 routes run per game. Right there with Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's incredible. Tank Dell, top 8 in target conversion percentage, 45%. And Rashee Rice, I know he's got some stuff that he's got to deal with. I understand he's got a legal battle coming. I don't know if that's happening in 2024, 2025. But y'all, don't be silly. Don't be silly. If he is on the field, Rashee Rice is going to be the guy. Not no Hollywood, not no X-Worthy. It's going to be Travis Kelce, and it's going to be Rashee Rice. Like, make no mistake about it. I appreciate y'all this morning, man. Appreciate y'all. Ultimately, it's your team. Draft who you want. Have fun. That's Fizzle Dollars Fantasy Quiz Show every Monday with your boy Ray G. Tater said it. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Check out Scott Connor's show on the Destination Devy radio feed. He talked about wide receivers in war this morning. Check out the show that we did last night. I've got hot takes and trending topics later tonight. We got Let's Talk Ball this week, Overreaction, Off the Line, Best Ball Night School, Underdog Portfolio Weekly, and maybe JRich will come back to the show one day. If not, it's all right. I got y'all covered. Nah, stay fun. Have fun out there. Jay told me it's like 2 p.m. in London where he is, or 3 p.m. now in London. Waddle is a hard buy usually on contenders. How do we get this great Discord? Patreon.com/ALLGAS, my guy. Go do that. You go do that. You join. I guarantee you won't go anywhere. You got to get in that Heisman tier, though. Get in that Heisman tier. Patreon.com/ALLGAS. Let me hear some music on the way out. Because I like music. Which one do I want? It's my joint right here. Hope everybody has a fantastic Monday. Make today great. Go be awesome. Follow me on X at RayGQ. If you want more content from me, it's the best damn community in fantasy football. I appreciate everybody in here. Danny, Joe, Ricardo, Gretchen, Tater, Wolf, Zach, Jimbo. Love y'all. Have a fantastic freaking day and wake y'all asses up next Monday. I'm out. Peace.